Let us start the session by chanting Namo Tassa. Namo Tassa Bhagavatu Arahato Samma Sambuddhassa. Namo Tassa Bhagavatu Arahato Samma Sambuddhassa. Namo Tassa Bhagavatu Arahato Samma Sambuddhassa. All right, everyone. Let us turn to page number. Back to our chart. Back to our chart. That is page number. Kiyada Devika? Page number
310, Swaminahasa. 310.
310, everyone. Hari. Ko Abhidhamma. Hari. Dillut Neta. Okay. That's fine. They will come. Mala is here. So there is. Hari. Now, we have to discuss. I told we ended the session last time saying that we would all go through the notes, isn't it, for Pachajata, and then come back with comments with what you think with regards to Pachajata, and also any questions that we might have with regards to Pachajata. So were we able to go through the notes? And of course, the extracts from the different books as well. The extract from the different books as well. Right. Number 11, Pachajata, post-nascence. Post-nascence. I will share the screen with all of you. Here we are. Post-nascence. Right. The conditioning state for post-nascence in the 5 aggregate plane is the later 81 chittas starting from the first Bhavanga and their respective 52 Chetasikas. Their conditioned state is in the 5 aggregate plane, matter of body arisen along with the preceding chitta from rebirth on at the stage of presence, at the state of presence, titi avastavedi. At the state of presence. So if we come down to if we start with our personal study through the week, from last week, what have we grasped with regards to post-nascence? Mala, would you like to have a go on Mala? And Chamari, if we could hear from you as well. You know, what we require is not an explanation, but how you sort of were able to grasp the subject. And if, of course, you have any questions personally or what you have come to understand with regards to the subject. Yes, Mala.
With Pachajata, what it says is normally, under normal circumstances, you get a cause and the cause leads to effect. but in Pachajata, it's a effect which arises first, and then the cause. And an example is supposing there's a plant, and the plant is growing, and when the rain comes, the rain gives water to the plant. The plant arose first, but the rain which came later supports the plant.
Okay. Okay. And Dil, when we spoke about this last week, I remember Dil made a very interesting comment as well, which is the practicality of it, where we have, for me, the interruption of proper conducive weather conditions, isn't it? Which is also something to consider along the way. Yeah. How do we respond to that, Mala? What do you think? Do you have any idea? Are you trying to say something because you're muted?
I said, and what I realized was the first explanation which was given about the vultures and the vultures not having food for 2 or 3 days. So that's a limited period. So the vulture, normally sparrows have food immediately, like babies do, but for 3, 4, 5 days, they are conditioned the other way, and a cause and effect, and so we can understand. So I thought maybe the plants are like that. Usually the rain comes every 6 months, Yala and Maha season or whatever. So they have. So if the rains don't come for a month or 2, the plants don't die. It can wait a little bit. But then after if you wait for another 6 months or something, then even the vulture, if the mother doesn't come, it's conditioned for a period over what is normally inherent to it. So the same way for the plants also. Every 6 months we have rain. Sometimes rain fail for 2, 3 months, but the crops don't fully fail. But if that extends to a year or something, then that's a different thing. Like the vultures, if the mother vultures don't come at all, then maybe. So I kind of saw that the fact that we are observing that sometimes in a whole season, and we have to import rice and things because the whole crop fails, but it can go beyond what is normally expected for some time. I don't know whether it's double the time or what, but that might be explaining how even in hibernation after some time, when you have winter, animals don't feed, but they have enough stored fat to go the whole of the winter, and if the winter delays by a month, maybe the animals can still do. So though there is a genetic cause, like 8 months for a pregnancy, but sometimes the babies go beyond that and nothing. It must be like that, Bhante. In other words, it can be extended definitely for a longer period. They have the inherent. So that's how I kind of thought this must be the explanation, Bhante.
Chamare, can we have your comments as well, Chamare?
Yes, Bhante. I actually didn't go so much into detail like the others were saying. I just took what in nature we know that say the vegetation that is already there. When the cause for that has actually come about at some point. So it's not really the effect comes first in this case. The cause has come and therefore there is the effect, but that effect will continue with new causes like the rainwater. So the later arriving rainwater is helping the already arisen vegetation to continue.
Yes.
In that sense, I understood the post-Masons.
Yes, yes. If we, thank you, Chamare, thank you. If we go into page number 313, to the definition of post-Nasons. Post-Nasons condition, would you like me to share the screen? Would that be easier? Okay. Sorry. Here we go. Here. Post-nascence condition is a condition where a conditioning state assists conditioned states that had arisen prior to itself by supporting and strengthening them. Supporting and strengthening them. This is the key word, everyone. Supporting and strengthening. In Lady Seado's book, it was the rainwater that falls every subsequent year renders service by way of post-existence. They've used the word existence rather than nascence, okay? So post-nascence to such vegetation as has grown in previous years. In promoting, Lady Seado uses, or Lady Seado's work has been translated as growth and development, right? Growth and development, right? The conditioning states in this relation are subsequently arisen chittas and chetasikas. The conditioning states in this relation are subsequently arisen chittas and chetasikas. The conditioned states are the material phenomenon of the body born of the four causes. Again, everyone, just focus on this part, please. Right? The conditioning states in this relation are subsequently arisen chittas and chetasikas. We know that, right? Isn't it? Right? Subsequently arisen chittas and chetasikas. The conditioned states are the material phenomenon of the body born of the four causes: kammaja, chittada, uttujja, aharaja, right? When we go into the four causes, there is also a relation of niyama dharma in this, right? Which material phenomena had arisen along with preceding chittas, born of the four causes, which material phenomena had arisen along with the preceding chittas. This condition begins with the first bhavanga in relation to the material phenomena born of karma at the moment of rebirth linking. This condition begins with the first bhavanga in relation to the material phenomenon born of karma at the moment of rebirth linking. This was clearly explained, the process was clearly explained in Sayadaw Kumara's book, isn't it? Which we read last week. Yeah? Yes, Damsiri? Damsiri, you're muted.
Hey, that explanation was not very clear.
Okay.
Now let's talk about when you have pratisandhi chitta, and with the pratisandhi chitta you have karmaja rupa,
Okay.
right? And then at that time it is ekaja kaya, right? One kaya. Then as pratisandhi chitta goes to sthiti, the middle part, then Urchuda Rupa Kalapa comes, right? And so where's the Nama, which one is helping which? Now I'm a little bit lost in that case actually.
Okay.
When you have Rutuja Rupa, then you have Dvikaya, and then that Urtuja Rupa, what is the conditioning for the Urtuja Rupa. Conditioning reason for the Urtuja. Whether it is the Titi stage of the Pratisandhi or the Bhavanga, or the future one, Bhavanga.
No. For the Uttuja Rupa, at that moment, condition, the Titi stage can't be the condition. The condition should be the allowance, the base of mind, which is the Bhavanga. The Bhavanga is maintained by the Patisandhi karma.
Okay, right.
Right? A Patisandhi, based upon that Patisandhi karma, the Uttuja, so the Nama is within that Patisandhi process, which is the Bhavanga process at that moment.
Okay. So the Nama, which is the Patisandhi, middle part of the Patisandhi, is the conditioning one. Is it?
Is the condition.
Conditioning, and the condition one is Rutuja Rupa, which is
Kammaja, Uttuja, both conditioned. Kammaja condition. The Kammaja becomes conditioned by the previous Patisandhi process, which has already taken place.
Okay.
Karmeta suduswakare Uttuja Rupe condition when karmyagi balapayamat ekka. Right. Remember when we spoke about the Kalapa, the Uttuja, the nature of Aharaja, Chittaja, and Kammaja is different.
Yes. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
What is to be taken by that is then Dhamsiri. There are some bodies.
Yeah.
Bodies.
Yeah. Rupa.
Okay. Yes.
Yeah. Some rupas. Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
Some rupas that can take, for example, extreme cold. Some rupas that can take extreme heat. Some rupas like ours which take the temperature of, right?
Yeah.
We should be able to understand that Uttuja is conditioned both by the karmic energy determined by the Patisandhi, Krutya or Karma, right?
Okay.
Also the Kamma that has already arisen.
Okay.
From both of those aspects, the condition arises. It is conditioned.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So in general sense, this post-nation is actually condition one is Chitta Chaitisika, right? Conditioning one is Chitta Chaitisika, and the condition one is Rupa, which has already there.
Yeah. Already there.
Yeah.
Yes. Already there, but with relation to supporting and strengthening.
Yes. Okay. All right. Okay.
Right.
Yeah.
And strengthening. Lady Sado's terms, growth and development.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
Otukota, we must also look at, for example, what Bill mentioned, which is very pertinent, which is, the disturbances to weather conditions, which happens. Then also then look at when we take a niyama dharma, or if we are to take karma phala, if we simply look at it from the context of karma phala, a phala can be supported, can be destroyed, can be disturbed, can be hindered, isn't it?
Yeah.
Right? So whilst, for example, I'm not sure, but I'm just saying this. So for example, I'm guessing an apple tree will not grow in a desert climate. I don't know, but I think so, right?
Yeah.
Right? The environment for it might be different,
Yeah.
right? But there will be certain species that are able to maintain themselves within a desert climate, right? So we must look at this in the manner, because they always, in all the texts that we have referred to, Sayadaw Kumara's Lady Sayadaws, and also this book that we are referring to here, relates to Kamma Chitta Utu Ahara. Kamma
Mhm.
Utu Ahara relates in a manner of niyama.
Yeah, okay.
Niyama dharmayak වශයෙන් නියාමයකින් මෙන්න මේ process එක පවතින්න කොහමද?
Mhm.
In that kind of a situation, whilst there can be certain strong forces in sort of in the moment supporting, there can also be forces that are able to disturb.
Yeah.
That are able to disturb. For example, the animals.
Mhm.
The harm done by animals to vegetation, the harm done by farmers to vegetation, right? Which can then hinder the continuity, the strengthening and development growth processes of the vegetation, if we might take that example, right? But this is to say that any of these rupas that have arisen will be supported.
Yeah, okay.
That development, their growth will be supported by these chittas and chetasikas which arise later on,
Mhm.
right? Should
Yeah.
they reach that moment of presence in that time?
Yeah, yeah.
ඒ කාලේ වෙනකන් පවතිනවා නම්, පවතින්න හැකියාවක් තිබෙනවා නම්, ඒ මොහොතේ අර ප්‍රත්‍ය උපකාරය ලැබෙනවා.
Right, right.
Right? And I think in the last class, the mistake that we made is we overlooked this part.
That's right. Yes. That's a very important
That's the important part which
line. Yeah, yeah.
we mentioned. Chamari always has a way of spotting these things. Huh?
Yeah, yeah.
Chamari. Yes, this is the part that we did not focus on, which is supporting and strengthening. Because the usual pretext of karma phala, I'm sorry, karma phala neme, hetu phala. Sorry, in the context of hetu phala, we speak on the grounds of coming to existence, becoming, isn't it?
Yeah, yeah.
Right? Because of this hetu, this phala comes to be.
Yes.
In this context of post-nascence, we are not talking about coming to be or existence. We are talking about support.
Yeah.
We are talking about support and strength the already existent operation of the material dharma.
Yeah.
Which actually then would, the confusions that we might have had in the earlier class is not there, isn't it? Because in the earlier class, what we were all sort of confused about was the fact of creation, existence, coming to be. How does something come to be when that thing which conditioned its existence is not there? Right? But here, because we overlooked these two words, is that clear, everyone? Right? So if we take the example of the tree again, if the rupa reaches, having come to be, reaches that respective period of time where rainfall comes to be, right, that rainfall will support the further strengthening and development of that tree, right, of that tree. Now that is one part. The second part is this. The niyama dharma, the utu niyama of that environment would be such that the rainfall, the climate, the manures of the climate would have or would condition the region or that whole plantation, isn't it? Again, I don't think I said that clear enough. Which is to say, for example, there is X amount of rain in a desert. There is X amount of rain, moisture, temperature in a rainforest. Hence, the vegetation, the plant, the vegetation, the flora and the fauna that we have in a rainforest is quite different from what we have in a desert, right? Hence, that itself is the utuniyama of that environment. So whilst that rainfall is going to come in the future, which has not yet arisen, but has that same rainfall has happened in the past. The past has given way to the plantation or the vegetation being present today, right? The environment through utuniyama supports or holds the life of the plantation or the vegetation, the fauna, up until that future one comes. The future rainfall is what conditions the sustenance of this ecosystem at this moment. Do you understand? The future rainfall is what sustains this present ecosystem. Without that future rainfall, this ecosystem will collapse. So we have to relate it to the niyama dharmas as well. Mokada, it is easy for us to say, okay, this force is going to be supported and developed, through the rainfall which is coming. But what is going to connect Prati Uppanna Pachya Sakti Venne Komada? Right? We have to ask that question also, right? Or else we are just blindly following as well, isn't it? Right? Pratyak, Pratya Padanam Karagana Hatagana Prati Uppanna Dharmatika. How does the link happen? The link is projected on post-nascence through that niyama which is present with chittada, aharaja, kammaja and utuja. Because all four of these rupas have very different properties in the way that it comes to be, isn't it? Right? It has very different properties in the way that it comes to be. It's the quality, the function by which it comes to be is different. Is that clear, everyone? Any questions? Shall we?
Bhante, I have a comment.
Chamara, yes.
I was reading this and I was thinking just how from the Pratisandhi Chitta, the process of Namarupa, and they're actually showing from the Pratisandhi Chitta how this post-nascence actually continues. And so the Nama will have just one mind moment, Rupa will have 17. So when one mind moment finishes, the rupa that has arisen, maybe the kammaja rupa, will still continue for another while. And then the next bhavanga chitta comes, and that conditions some of the already existing rupa. And if you just take maybe from the very beginning, the first mind moment, the rupa had already started, let's say the kammaja rupa, and that would have the life of what, 17 mind moments. By the second rupa mind moment, there would be another bhavanga, and that might be supporting some of these rupa that's going to be there for another 15 mind moments or 14 mind moments, so strengthening and supporting. So this process is going to continue, and that's what that my understanding was. This pratya, or the condition, pachajata condition, pachajata pachaya, is about that nama rupa process.
Mhm.
And how the already existing rupa, that's going to actually last a while longer than the mind moments. How the next one will still strengthen the already existing rupa. And then the example is the rainwater, because it's easier to understand.
Mm. Mm, mm, mm. Mm. What do the others think? Thank you, Chamari.
When you say that in the first chitakshana, when you have prasithandi chitta, of course, you immediately have the first karmaja rupa, right? And then that karmaja rupa, that particular karmaja rupa goes for 17 chitakshanas. Then you move to the next bhavanga. Then you have that karmaja rupa, and then you start another karmaja rupa. Because when you pass every chitaksana, you create new line of rupas.
Yeah.
For every chitaksana, you have a new line of rupa. So when you pass the nama rupa from one chitaksana to other chitaksana, you have a series of rupa continues, and that process goes on until 17th nama 17th the bhavanga. Then the first chitaksana disappears. Line disappears, right? So at one point you have 17 series of rupa, right? When you have a bhavanga in the pratisandhi, when you have bhavanga, with the bhavanga you have a 17 series of rupa. It's a karmaja rupa, and then you have rituja rupa, you have rituja rupa, then you have chittaja rupa. So you keep on producing a series of rupas with 17 chitakshanas life. So when it comes to Pachajata, what it says is the chitta what you have, or the pratisandhi or the bhavanga chitta, is helping the rupa to develop further for 17 chittakshana moments. Right? Do you understand, Bhante? So it is the because of the Pachajata, the pratisandhi chitta chitta or the subsequent bhavanga chitta is supporting and helping these new series of rupa kalapas to develop for 17 mind moments.
Hmm.
So that's the process. I think this has been explained by very well by one of the lectures given by Bhante Valimada Jinalankara. So the process is it's very difficult to understand, because with the pratisandhi, you start the firing lines of rupa, 17 rupas continuously for each chittakshana. At the same time, you move to bhavanga, that line continues with another lines of rupa chittakshanas, right? And so in order to develop that rupa series of rupas in the process, so the pratisandhi or the bhavanga, subsequent bhavangas, are the conditioning force, and the rupa, the series of rupa, are the pratyupanna or the condition.
Othukota, now if to bring a little bit more clarity onto that, when we are referring to the rupas, are we referring to the rupa kalapa, rupa vitis, or
It's a rupa viti. We are talking about the rupa viti. So as soon as you have patisandhi, then you start a rupa viti, one rupa viti for every chittakshana, right?
yeah,
And when you move to bhavanga, you have another rupa viti in addition to the previous rupa viti. So you keep on adding the rupa vitis, 17 rupa vitis at one time.
yeah, Chama.
Bhante, what is the Rupa Viti?
Rupa viti
I
is
thought there is only the Chitta Viti and the Rupa Kalapa.
rupa viti. Rupa viti is actually rupa viti is when you start, we'll say karmaja rupa. Karmaja rupa is not going to just appear and disappear. Karmaja rupa continues for 17 chittaksana. Rupa exists for 17 chittaksana.
Yeah, I
So
understand.
that is the rupa viti we are talking about.
Okay, I'm
Right.
just taking one rupa. So if you slow it down, slow it
Yeah.
right down, take just one rupa in this series, the very first one,
Okay.
that's going to actually stay there, not stay there, last for 17 mind moments. And in the next nama with the bhavanga, another rupa kalapa will come up. That will, second one will also continue for 17. By that time, first one would have lost its lifetime. So let's say it is now 15, but both are there in a together. The each arising nama is going to strengthen the first arisen rupa that may have lost its time, and the newly arisen as well, because if we actually look at
Okay,
the
let me explain to you, Chamari. Pratisandhi chitta exists for one chittakshan. That means upada titi banga, right? And then it's finished. Then comes the bhavanga. So it's only one chittaksana. Then bhavanga take over. Bhavanga comes, first bhavanga, it upada titi banga and disappears, right? So you are talking about that way chittakshanas. every chittakshana, you have series of bhavangas. The side way, when you have pratisandhi chitta, you start firing. You start firing karmaja rupa. So with the first chittakshana, you have first karmaja rupa, first chittakshana of the karmaja rupa. With the second bhavanga, you have second of chittakshana of that karmaja rupa.
Understand?
With the third one, let me explain. With the third one, you have, with the third bhavanga, you have the third chittakshana of the karmaja rupa. But meanwhile, you are not, you have to start in the second bhavanga, you start firing another rupa.
Yeah, that's
Right?
fine.
It's a series. Yeah, that's the point. So so in order to, what we are trying to say is, because it's a complex one, the series, you have series of chittakshanas. When it comes to, well, say 17th bhavanga, you have 17 type of rupas in existence.
Not 17 types of rupa, only the 4
No,
types of
they will
rupa.
type in the sense, either karmaja, rutuja,
Yeah.
karmaja, rutuja, chittaja, rupa, aharaja.
Yeah.
So when it comes to 17, you have these type of, but everyone firing on its own process.
Yeah. I mean, I have no issue with that. I understand that goes on like that. But what I wanted to point out was let's say the first Rupa Kalapa, if you just manage to isolate the first Rupa Kalapa, that is still there when the second Bhavanga, actually with the second Bhavanga, next Rupa Kalapa arises. But by the second Bhavanga, the Rupa Kalapa will go for another 17 mind moments. The very first Rupa Kalapa will go on for another 16 or 15 or whatever. That's what I'm saying. That each consequently arising Nama will support the already existing Rupa Kalapa, because the Rupa Kalapa is going to last longer than the Nama, than the Bhavanga Chitta. So there would be so the series goes where there are some older ones, new ones, and they are all being supported, the growth and the development of all of that is what the post-nascence condition is doing. So at some point, the very first Rupa Kalapa is going to finish after 17 mind moments. But in the meantime, so many others have arisen.
But here, just one point, Bhante. Here in post-nascence, the new Nama is helping the old Rupa to develop. Right? So that when you have Bhavanga, Bhavanga is helping the whatever the Rupas already have in the system. So the Bhavanga is help. So you have to have the post-nascent understanding, not the pre-nascence. So that means your chitta, the chitta, new chitta, or the whatever the chitta is coming up is helping the previous Rupa. Rupa already existed. Already existing. So whatever the new Rupa, new Nama coming is helping the already existed Rupa to continue. Is that the way, Chamra, you explain?
Yeah, because it is a series, and
Yeah,
therefore
it's a
you're
series. Yeah,
adding
yeah,
a
yeah.
new another 17, another
Yeah.
17. At the same time, the older ones are losing its time.
Yeah.
So each
Yeah.
Bhavanga, is supporting. That's my
Yeah.
understanding.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, when we are also sort of relating to this, I think it is also important to make it clear that whilst we are relating to it as an extension of the lifespan of that specific group, we are referring to different processes which are the similar identity or the unique signature of that group. That we are not talking about the elongation of the 17 mind movement process. Isn't it?
No, Bhante.
Are we talking about an elongation of mind movements where the 17 mind movements extend beyond, where the Rupa extends beyond 17?
No, Bhante, no. Each
No,
one will be 17, but
Each one
each
will be,
moment
each
there
one
will
will be
be another set
17.
of
Yeah.
17.
each one will be 17. Practice, the supporting condition, the chittas and chaitasikas that support the continuity of that Rupa, it supports that Rupa through now firing, as Namsiri said, firing similar Rupas of that same identity to ensure the continuity of that Rupa structure,
Yeah.
but not in of the 17. Yeah.
Yeah, each one will have 17.
Each one.
Not a single Rupa will have life beyond 17 mind movements. So it's not about elongation. It's just about one comes and then that will have 17. In the next mind moment, there's another, say a Rupa Kalapa has already started. So the older one, the very first one, has lost its time by a little bit already. But now there are two Rupa Kalapas, just for the, as an example. Two Rupa Kalapas are there. One will have 17 mind moments, the other one will have 16 or 15. But both of them are being now supported by the next arising Nama.
Yeah.
And while it is being done, they're losing their time as well. And there will be another adding.
Loses their power. The mind loves based on the remaining or a similar process to now start based on those remaining energies from that Rupa.
That's right. Yes.
Yeah.
Wonderful.
Very complex, even more difficult than engineering.
How are the others?
Bhante, can I ask you a question, please?
Yes,
Ladies. In Lady Sayadaw's book, in the third paragraph, it says that the 16th life continuum cannot become a causal relation by way of post-existence, for it comes into existence only when that group of material qualities reaches the stage of dissolution. So that seems like the Bhavanga Chittas don't seem to have a Chitta Viti, the way this Lady Sayadaw says, because the...
Yeah, Bhavanga Chittas don't have a, well, okay. Shall we first read that part? Yeah, so that everyone is on one page. Yeah, was third one, this para?
Yes, third para.
Pachachata here. 1, 2,
3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10.
15.
The 10th sentence in that third paragraph is what she's reading.
All right, we'll start.
Similarly, the 16th, that's where she's reading.
Yeah.
Halfway through, after Karma there.
Hurry, I found it. The 15 states of the life continuum starting serially from the first life continuum which has arisen after the rebirth conception causally relate by way of post-existence to the group of material qualities born of karma. Okay? the 15 states of the life continuum, starting serially from the first life continuum, which has arisen after the rebirth conception, causally relate by way of post-existence, pachajata, to the group of material qualities born of karma, which coexist with rebirth conception. As to the rebirth conception, it cannot be causal relation by way of post-existence, for it coexists with a group of corporeal qualities born of karma. Similarly, the 16th life continuum cannot become a causal relation by way of post-existence, talking about the Tadalambana, for it comes into existence only when that group of material qualities reaches a stage of dissolution. For it comes into existence only when that group of mental qualities reaches the stage of dissolution. Therefore, these are the 15 states of the life continuum which causally relate as above. Therefore, these 15 states of the life continuum which causally relate as above. As above. So let us, what did you want to say?
Bhante, the first Chitta Viti, it's a Manodvara Vajjana Viti that happens after the 6th Bhavanga moment, Chitta, in the baby, which says that Bhavanikanti Javanas, because of the Tanha for the new Bhava, the baby starts this Manodvara Viti at the 16th. It has to go past 16 Bhavanga Chittas for him to or her to get the first Chitta Viti, which is a Manodvara Viti. So I wonder whether all these first Bhavangas have any Chitta Vitis. Because
are you referring to the first Bhavanga, meaning Bhavanga in a Viti process as a Dwara Viti process?
no, it's the new life, Bhante, the first, second, third.
Right.
Yes, we were talking about the Rupas.
Well,
Each one having like a 17 Rupa Chittakkana, giving rise to the Rupas material. So I wonder why then they should wait 16 moments, 16 Bhavanga Chitta moments for the baby to get the first Manodvara Viti. That's his first Chitta Viti. So with the Bhavanikanti Javana and the Tanha and all these things.
okay. So, how would we look at that? Similarly, the 16th life continuum cannot become a causal relation by way of post-existence, for it comes into existence only when that group of material qualities reaches a stage of dissolution. Reaches a stage, therefore, these 15 states of the life continuum which causally relate as above. Any comments?
Bhante, this first Manodvarajana, that's a different school of thought actually. First Manodvarajana in the beginning of the life, it's not exactly after 16 Bhavangas, because some book says that it can go on for a long time until the child or the child develop to such an extent that he can develop the Manodvarajana to actually experience the fully blown Manodvarajana Chittaviti. So in the book I have been reading, this comes under one explanation. There are few explanations or a few occurrences, and they call it Visajjanavara. It says Kusalo Dhammo Abhyakatasya Dhammasya Pajjata Pachena Pachayo. That means when you have Vottappana or the Manodvarajana, that will actually help the Vottappana or the Manodvarajana will help to develop the Tijakaya and Chatuchakaya, third and the fourth level of Rupa development. So that is a different level of explanation, right? Because I mean, in this particular case, you have three VTs to explain, not VT, actually VT, not like in the Chitta VT, three explanation levels. One is Kusalo Dhammo, which gives rise to Abhyakata Dhamma. Other one is Akusala Dhamma, gives rise to Abhyakata Dhamma. And the third one is Abhyakata Dhamma, gives rise to Abhyakata Dhamma.
Yes, but Dhamsari, if we have another way of sort of looking at it,
Yeah.
neither. With regards to not in line of that, is there another way that we can put it?
Which one you're talking about? The Manodvarajana.
Manodvaravajana, yes.
Yeah.
Patthana ඔය කොටසෙන් යන්න නැතුව.
Yeah. The Letis has got the question actually at the 16th Bhavanga Chitta, you have Manodvarajana, right? That's the one actually I will not agree, because it depends on the development of the child. So immediately, within 16 Chittakshana means a fraction of second, right? So newborn child will not have Manodvarajana, Chittaviti in fraction of a second after birth. Right?
I wonder why in this book itself, I mean, Lady Sayadaw himself, I'm sure it is within this book itself, he states the same thing, Dhamsari.
Oh, I see.
Lady Sayadaw states the same thing. That is where I was then able to tell all of you the same. So that statement with regards to the time that it takes for Manodvara Bhajana to arise, he also does state that it does vary. He does not say that it sort of is this time.
Yeah, okay.
He does say that it does vary. So I am a little bit confused myself why here it mentions this. Lettuce, can you leave this with us, please?
Bhante, I have written it, but I haven't written from where I got it. I have to search for it.
Okay.
It says that the Patisandhi Chitta is followed by 15 or 16 Bhavanga Chittas. Then the first cognitive series of that lifetime occurs. It does not need other external object. The Javana Chittas in this first cognitive series are called the Bhavanikanti Javanas, because they arise as a result of attachment, whatever, for this life. Javanas are due to Lobha Mula Chittas, dissociated from wrong view, unprompted.
Yeah.
I don't know. I'll have to search for the book from where I found it.
But your question was different, neither. Lettuce.
No, my question was like they were talking about each Bhavanga Chitta producing a Chitta Viti, like, so that there is Rupa from the first Bhavanga, second, third. So like the 17 moments of a Chitta Viti giving rise to Rupa. But in this, it says the Bhavanga just runs for 16 moments. And then the first Chitta Viti comes only at the 15, 16 or 17 or whatever thing.
Whatever time. Well, one part to that is one part that we could understand, or what I could sort of offer at this point in time, is the bhavanga. The vitis don't arise from the bhavanga. The bhavanga itself is a state the mind exists with, right? So it is not the bhavanga that gives rise to the vitis that come after it. The vitis, when the object appears, impingement occurs through the sensory basis or the manodhvara, the process of the bhavanga is hindered and that specific process arises. The bhavanga, necessarily, if we are to ask the question, what does the bhavanga do? The bhavanga doesn't really do anything, right? The bhavanga is like a state of being, the mind, right? The mind being, basically. The bhavanga doesn't really do anything else other than the fact of being. Yeah. So the vitis that come or arise, they arise because of other impingement, not because of any directive given through the bhavangas. Right? With regards to the 16th mind movement, let me check on that, because Lady Sayadaw himself, within the manual of Dhamma, he would say that the child, we cannot say that the child will specifically arise at this moment, because it does vary and it does change. Right? It does vary and it does change. Just like, for example, from the physical moment of fertility, when the mano aspect would, or the pratisandhi process would essentially start, it is said that it doesn't essentially start with the fertility process itself. Yeah. So Lettice?
Yes, thank you.
Bhante, can
Yeah.
I just, I think I found what Auntie Lettice was saying in this book. It's on page 225, where you leave your last, not this, not, yeah. So where you leave your last bhava and start your new one, and there it actually does say you've either taken the new sign of kamma or the kamma or the what's the third one? Sign of destiny. And then there would be 16 bhavanga chittas before the bhavanikanti javana will start with the manodvara vachana.
225. Oh, here it is. Yes. New life. Rebirth. Bhavanga.
Yeah, bhavanga 1, 2, 3,
all,
and then up to 16.
All the way up to 16, then the manodhvara vajana process starts. The above diagram shows the rebirth process with the present visible form occurring as a sign of kamma. With other objects, the process would occur differently. Note, so with other objects, the process would occur differently. Note that the visible form with the duration of 17 mind moments is a present object for 14 chittas of the last Dhamma process of the old life. Again, with a duration of 17 mind moments, the visible form with a duration of 17 mind moments is a present object for 14 chittas. Where is that? So present visible form, 14. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. Okay. 14 there with the duration of 70 minutes is present object of 14 chittas of the last Dhamma process of the old life. So this one, this 14. And the first 3 chittas of the new life. And the first 3 chittas of the new life. So present object, present visible object. The object is same for these 14 and the first 3. These, which make the 17 mind moments there. Then which make the 17 mind moments there. From the 3rd bhavanga on, it becomes a past object. From the 3rd bhavanga on, it becomes past object. 3rd bhavanga.
So third bhavanga would be the first bhavanga of the new life, and the sign of karma, which was a present visible form in the last Javana process of the death process, now becomes a past object in the new life.
The 3rd bhavanga on, it becomes a past. From the 3rd bhavanga on, it becomes a past object. But we see object new. This is the new one. Old. So it's not relating to this process, the Chamari process.
Bhante process එකේ rebirth ඉඳලා දිගට භවංග යනවා. ඊළඟට චුති චිත්ත.
From the 3rd bhavanga on, it becomes a past object.
Yeah, the sign of karma will become the past object because it started in the past life.
Yeah.
But because of if it is a visible form, the object will last for 17 mind moments because it's a rupa. But here, the old kind of the chitta, old life, the what is it called? Chitta parampara finishes at the D, is it DH? DH, yeah.
Death.
So that's only still 14. So there would still be another 3, right?
Yeah, these 3.
The first 3. Yeah.
These 3. And then, but here, then from B3 to B16, from B3 to B16, the new sign of karma. There's still a new sign of karma. Okay. So then still the new sign of karma, the sign of karma, and then it becomes a past object for the new life here.
Yeah. That's what I meant.
So thank you, Tamari.
It's okay.
Thank you. So it becomes the past object for the new life. All right, lettuce.
Yes. Sorry.
Yeah.
I'm here, Bhante.
Yeah. Does this bring any illumination into your question, lettuce?
No, I knew this even before Bhante. That's what I brought it up.
Yeah.
But the first, second, third bhavanga and all, they were talking about these rupas forming for 17 mind moments.
Okay.
That's why I wanted to just bring this up, whether it's right or wrong.
The first, second, third bhavangas forming
No,
root.
as you go on, that's how this post-nascence happens. That's what the others were discussing. The first, second, third bhavanga, they go on for the 17 mind moments, producing the rupas.
The first, second, third, are you referring to this chart or are you referring to Bhavanga Chalana, Bhavanga Upacha, that Bhavanga series?
No, this is the new baby I'm referring to, this chart.
Okay.
From the Patisandhi, from the birth on.
Okay. Yeah.
So here the rupas aren't being shown, but with each rebirth linking chitta, there would be Kammaja Rupa to start with.
Yeah. From the moment of Titi.
Yeah. So each rebirth RB you see either in the last, the old object and the first line or the second line, wherever it's got RB, there are Kammaja Rupa to start with, and then the Utuja and the other ones. They're not showing the Rupa here, they're just showing the death process.
The death process. All right. Shall we then move on?
Thank you.
Yes, Bhante.
Right. Any questions? Any further questions with regards to post-nascence? Is everyone all right? Hello, everyone.
Bhante, if you're looking for the page, we have to go back to 313.
No, I'm looking for the light in our students' eyes. I feel,
Yeah. Bhante, it's in this particular one is we are, so the rupa are the pratyupanna or the conditioned Dhamma, right?
the rupa.
Yeah, rupa is the conditioned Dhamma in this case.
Yes. Rupa.
So, yeah. Sorry?
Rupa would come to being first, isn't it?
Yeah. And pratyupanna is also rupa, supported by chitta or chaitasika or.
So the pala comes first. The result, or I'm sorry, the hetu is the consciousness and the chetasika which comes later.
Yeah. And so the pratyupanna is rupa again. Pratyupanna or the conditioned is rupa, supported by your.
Yes, it is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Whereas in the previous one, which is what you call the Purejata, it's actually the rupa is the conditioning one, right? So this is the right reverse of Purejata. In the Purejata, the condition one is Nishpanna Rupas, 18 Nishpanna Rupas.
Yeah, because what we discussed was, yes, because Nishpanna Rupas exist.
Yeah.
We are able to see the form, feel, taste, do all those functions.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yes.
So,
right opposite.
Yeah.
Is right opposite.
Right, yeah.
Is right opposite.
But different application.
Yeah, I mean, would it be fair to also because we are looking at a completely different essence, ne Dhamma Center. You're muted.
broad brush way. So this is the right opposite, because when you're talking about the whole Patthana is actually, it's something to do with the interrelationship between Rupa and Nama, and how the Nama Rupas are doing its business without your involvement.
Yeah. Yeah.
Right? So they actually understanding Patthana is very important for you to understand the Anatma, right? Because your Chittaviti and the Nama, everything, Nama Rupa is everything is governed by its own rules and conditions, and you have no say.
A very mechanical process of sorts.
Yeah. So that's a basis for you to understand Anatma. If you really think about it, then you will see actually that you can't do anything, because you are different from your body. Body is doing its own functions while we are just observer and giving some additional conditions, right?
Yeah.
So it's a very good point for your vidarshana. How do you think so?
No, not for the vidarshana right now, Dhamsiri.
No, not right now, but one day.
Of course, yeah, Anatma, I mean, if
Yeah.
all the Pratyupan and the Pachya Satya Dharmas, all of which are sort of, conducive to the understanding of Anatma, non-self, the process of the Nama Dharmas and the Nama Rupas and all of these sort of phenomena that we sort of hold. Yes, of course. However, Vidarshana, Karanyanota, that's, I think, we are not at this level yet.
Ready. We are not ready yet.
All right. Okay. Shall we move on to, or I feel like, is everyone okay? I feel like it was a lot. Yeah, Padma. Yes, Padma.
Oh, I'm muted. No, I just want to know what happened to the post-nascent situation at death. We went through the Chittaviti that just a minute ago. So does it just stop there? Because it should stop actually before actually death happens, isn't it? Because I couldn't work out what will happen at the moment of death to the post-nascence.
Well, the thing is, the life will continue until we attain to the stage of nirvana. Life will continue, and up until life continues, and I'm sorry, let me be clear, not beyond, up until we attain nibbana and pass away, post-nascence will continue.
Okay.
Because the continuation of Rupa has to happen. At every point that a consciousness, a karmic energy, karmaja rupas at this point, when they are produced, these karmaja rupas will keep on going through a process of continuity. So the post-nascence process does not end up until we pass away after attaining to arhanthood.
Right. Okay, thank you.
Is that clear, Padma?
Yeah, thank you.
At every point that a Kammaja Rupa is produced, that Kammaja Rupa, right, it will live out its span of life, and before the span of life comes to a complete halt, it will another chitta chetasika dharma in the future that is present or that comes to a stage of presence at that respective time will support the continuation of that said Rupa Dhamma. This will happen again and again and again. And actually, Asevana Pacha is somewhat similar to that essence as well. Right? Which is to say, if we have a Rupa must pass away within 17 mind moments, right? 17 mind moments. And when it comes to its end, a Chitta Chaitasika Dhamma at a specific time, when the Rupa Dhamma is nearing its end, it will sort of produce a similar Rupa Dhamma to support its continuity.
Okay.
Right? So in that way, for example, the human body, the skin, for example, the skin will sort of go through a motion of being and decay again and again and again every 17 mind moments. So, for example, the Kammaja Rupas, the Chittas, which work in the way that it does, right, produce similar Rupas which help the skin to keep on continuing as it is.
Okay.
Right. To help keep on producing as it is. For example, if we would even take the karma that we have, we have the karmas to see with the prasada rupas. Right. If the karma comes to an end, those rupas which support the prasada rupas will come to an end. Breaking the whole set of karmas which go from there onwards, the karmas that we have to see will now not be able to function. Extreme example, right? On the other side, we have karmas to see. We have karmas for the prasada rupas to keep on arising, right? So those chittas that arise, the Kammaja Rupas will produce, the Kammaja Rupas will produce Rupas which will keep on supporting the continuation of the eyes.
Okay.
Of the eyes, allowing the Prasada Rupa to keep on seeing. Hence, the karmas to see will also be able to enact itself to see, essentially. Ekyanne chakku ahetuka chakku dwara upeka sagata chakku vinyana. Right? Chittas will be able to now arise because the Kammaja Rupas enabled or supported the Chakku Pasada to continue. We must not misunderstand to think that it is the same Rupa. Right? This Rupa is refreshing itself on its own, a line. So, for example, now a person who is, let us say, an 18-year-old, an 18-year-old's eyesight is going to be different from a 40 or 60-year-old person's eyesight for sure, right?
Yeah.
So now the body or the Kammaja Rupas that are going to be produced are going to be in line with the conditions that are present. Right. So although the new Rupas arise, the new Rupas are going to arise taking the essence of those Rupas that have been. ඒ තියෙන දේට තමයි support කරන්න. නැති දේකට support කරන්නේ නැහැ.
Right.
තේරෙනවද?
Yeah.
So just because new Kammaja Rupas are arising and you might have Kammaja Rupas for the future where you would be able to Kamajarupa is for the future, where you would be able to see as well in future lives, although you might have that karma, does not mean that you will have an 18-year-old's or a 16 or a 15-year-old's eyesight. Why? Because the Kamajarupas that are going to be supported are going to be rupas that are already existent.
Okay.
Right? All like the tree is there, the rain is going to support the tree which is there already.
Okay. Right.
Is that clear?
Yes, thank you. Thank you, yeah.
Noeline, Hemamali, is that Pushpa? So it's push underscore. Dil, how are we? Do we want to, it's 8:30 almost. Hemali?
Yeah, we are listening, Bhante. Yeah. We are getting there. It's interesting and we can understand also a little bit. Yeah.
Is that clear though? I mean, with Chamaris and Abhidhamma, there are additions, and this summary that I've just given, does it bring to light?
Actually, Bhante, I want to go through and see. I understood, but I want to go through. Yes.
Yeah.
Thank you, Bhante.
Just understand for everyone, with every moment of chitta that arises, there is karma. These karmas, while it produces karma, these also produce sort of rupa processes on its own. These rupa processes, right? Now, a man will not get, if he does not have a disturbing karma which comes into effect, a man will not have a dog's rupa coming into play. A man will have the continuation of his rupa. He might have the karma to become a dog in the future. But within this lifetime, within this conditioning that he is living out, the rupas that are going to be arising, or the support which is going to be given for the continuation of the said man's rupa skandha, is going to be to the existing rupa skandha, not to a new rupa skandha. The existing rupa skandha is going to be supported. So with every moment, with the karmas, with the energies that we produce and the rupas that arise based upon these energies are going to arise in support of the rupa phenomena which is already existent. Is that clear? So the body is here. The body is present. A child has, or let's make it easier. I might have the ayusha, the lifespan, the karmic energy to live up until, let's say, 60. Right? Now the body will continue. How is it going to continue? By continuously through Pachajata being supported. How is it being? So the body is already present. The continuity is going to happen in line with the Rupa Skandha, which is already present as well. So every moment when these sort of chittas and chetasika dharmas produce Rupa, they are going to do so in line with the rupas already present. Simply that is it. Right? Hence, supporting the continuity of the already existing rupa. Of the already existing rupa. As we go on, however, with the niyama dharmas and all of that which comes into being, this rupa goes through a process of aging, decay, and all of that as well. Those factors are present within the energies that support the rupa, right? Which support the holding together of the nama skandha and the rupa skandha, right? It is, in a way, they say, it's very popular to say, if you start thinking that you're old and that you're feeble, that you will become old and feeble. Isn't it? And which kind of can be connected to this as well, isn't it? Isn't it? It can. No? We are thinking, right? And we think that we are old and feeble or whatnot, and we are weak and we can't do anything, and we become that. But the ones who think, oh, we are going to do this, we can do it, all of that, I still have energy and all of that, endeavor. Yeah, endeavor. So yes. All right. So let us end the session today. I feel like it is good to end the session today rather than going into Aseva and Pacha. So everyone, tomorrow morning we are having the meditation. Tomorrow morning we are having meditation. Go through the note. What else? That is it. That is it, everyone. Take care. Have a wonderful rest of the night. And yes, all the very best.
Sarnai Bhante.
Everyone Sarnai Bhante.
Everyone Sarnai Bhante.
Good night, everyone.
Everyone Saranai Bhante.